Hello, welcome back to Doing Bart Things, and it's been a while since I've made a video. Let's see if I can get my microphone to the right spot here. Move it over. All right. So, what's on the menu for today? Well, I've been trying to get things settled at the house so that way I can start, making some more videos more regularly. I appreciate everybody kind of hanging in there. I say everybody, my incredible 43 subscribers. You guys are the real kings and queens. But just in case someone else also, in addition to my subscribers, randomly comes across this video, I thought I'd talk a little bit about 14th gen Intel. So Intel came out with their 14th gen and gone through all the reviews, watched Gamers Nexus, looked up a few things here and there. This is a refresh. It is not completely untouched like it actually is. There are some things to it. Intel has done some tweaking with the power to get a little bit more efficiency out of it. I don't think you're going to see it in the upper end SKUs. So your 14, oh my God, the names of these things. The 14,900K basically is a 13,900K better bend. You're not going to see, a giant uptick in performance. We said that kind of from the onset. It sounded like it wasn't going to be that much, and it's not. It's truly not. It's basically, I would almost say, 13,900K might be a better buy right now if you can find it at a decent price. If the price is substantially lower. But here's the crazy part: is this is not a cheap node for Intel. These are not cheap processors for them to make in comparison to the AMD equivalent. AMD is doing pretty well on their margins right now with their CPUs. Intel is not. These are expensive to produce, and they're good processors. Don't get it twisted. Like, they're really good, but the deals you're going to see maybe are not quite what you're hoping they would be. You're going to get some deals here and there, but they're not going to be, I think, as good as the AMD deals that we'll probably see like around Black Friday going in the holiday, right? And I apologize, my sinuses are really jacked up at this time of year, so it's kind of is what it is. We'll do our best. One thing about it though is you can see here on the 8 performance cores, it looks like they were able to get 9 gigahertz. I'm sure this is a world record run on LN2. I'm sure, like using the pot and everything. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah, if you look, the previous record was the 13,900K at what is this, 8,700 megahertz. So that's pretty nuts. This is not good for anything, right? But it's interesting to see that they could do that. Now, what would I say is probably the most interesting part of the 14th gen? Depending on price, I think it's the 14700K or 14700KF maybe. But they added a couple more efficiency cores to it, so you get some more multi-threading. If you're going to build a workstation / occasional gaming machine or something, this is probably a good chip to base it off of to keep your budget, your overall PC in budget. If you're just trying to do that, like it's basically like a 13900K. A 13900K is probably going to beat it slightly in multitasking. This is going to vary ever so slightly win in single core, and it's going to win a little bit in power efficiency. But that's what's crazy is the 13th and 14th gen. I mean, they're so close. They're so close, guys. I would not probably pay $30 more to get a 14th gen. I mean, that's how close it is. They're the same chip. Basically, there's a few tweaks to power, like I said, but you're still going to blow 300 watts on a 14900K if you max it out. Like, these things are not just that much more efficient. good chips, but it's the same story. There's nothing new to see here. I would look all day long to see if I could get good deals on 13th gen. If I want to get like a one of the higher end SKUs like the 900K, the i9, I would go looking for a good deal on a 13 900K and not even blink an eye. If there's a good deal on a 14 900K, then awesome. But again, I don't know, $30, $40, somewhere in that range would make me kind of go, well, I don't know why I'm paying that extra money for this. That said, they're that close in price though too, so fielder's choice. Go see what your deals are. Example, clicking over to Micro Center, right? So your 14 900K here can be had for $589, and 13 900K is $568. If you are, it's almost the point of, if you're okay with the motherboard that they're wrapping in this bundle, take this, right? Because that's amazing that you get a motherboard in a bundle. I think it's like $799 with the memory. That's cool. Do that. But if you don't like this motherboard and you're not going to buy it anyway, then you get the 14 900K and pick out the motherboard you want. Like that's how close this is it makes it difficult to, you have to really look and kind of get down in the minutia of what you really want, and budget out for. But if you notice, the 12th gen is still out there. Those are really good chips, and they can be had for really good prices. And I don't think the jump between a 12th gen all the way up to a 14th gen anyway is huge. 15-20% maybe. That's probably optimistic. Multitasking, that's different. There are more cores on the 13th and 14th gen than the 12th gen. Maybe if you're building a gaming machine, I don't know, like $370 for a 12 900K, and you can get RAM and a motherboard. Like if you're deal hunting, what is this deal anyway? Yeah, $399. Motherboard, memory. I mean, that's pretty stout, man. That's pretty stout. So that's a 16 core CPU. It's going to have 8 performance cores and 12 efficiency cores, I'm guessing. Let me see. Oh, 8 efficiency cores. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So 24 threads. I mean, turbo speed, 5.2 gigahertz roughly. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just, it's a real weird position. Intel has released 3 CPU generations, we'll say, within fairly close proximity of performance with each other. The 13th gen and 14th gen, literally there's almost no difference. Like nothing. 12th gen to 13th gen, there's a jump, but it's not a big jump. So, I mean, it's kind of tough. And then meanwhile, you've got AMD over here, right, with the 7000 series. Like, this is still one of the go-to chips right here. Newegg's got it for $349. I think you can get it on, I'm sorry, Newegg has got it for, I think, $369, $389, something like that. You can get a Micro Center for $349. Like, I don't know, for just a gaming rig, I'd have a hard time recommending something else, honestly. It's simple, it doesn't take a lot of power, you can use it, you're going to get the same performance on the lower end chipset even, so it's going to beat a 12 900K in most circumstances in gaming that is a game that takes advantage of the V-Cache. So I don't know, like, it makes for an interesting decision. But then again, for the money, like you can, for $400 you can get 30 gigs of RAM and a motherboard. I mean, that's tough. That's a really good combo. It's a really good combo. So, so what do we think? Well, right now at this second, Intel so ever so slightly probably has maybe an edge at the very, very top end for something you'd consider a workstation or games that just want high frame rate. Or not high frame rate, I'm sorry, high clock frequency. However, a 7800X 3D is right there with all of it in terms of gaming performance. And the 7950X isn't a bad alternative if you wanted something more multitasking focused, although I think Intel CPUs win. All of these chips are really strong. That's the key that you need to take away, is there's nothing here that isn't capable of performing very well, doing multitude of tasks, basically. So my pick would probably be to get one of these Alder Lake CPUs, for a good price. Like this bundle at Micro Center is really compelling for $399. That's a lot of power for that price. If I was building and really wanted to, get very specific and make a really high-end gaming rig, you could look 13900K or 14900K, but I would probably go 7800X 3D for a dedicated gaming setup, 100%. Even if you're only spending around half the time to a little bit more than half the time gaming, I would probably go with this. Unless you are, you have a application that specifically needs Intel or all those cores and it just performs, significantly better. Like if you're rendering something like that, it will half your time to do that by having all those threads and cores. Then I don't know why you're looking at mid-range CPUs anyway. You should go and build a full-fledged workstation and get you a 13900K or 14900K, or maybe look at the high-end desktop parts that have a lot more cores. That would be an option as well. But dedicated gaming setup, man, for the price, this is really hard to beat. I think everything I've said out there sort of indicates that, and it's surprisingly efficient, power and temp wise. You can absolutely get away with a regular air cooler on this, no problem. You can on the 12th, 13th, and 14th gen Intel CPUs. Don't get it twisted. You can, but you have to be a little bit. You have to tweak a little bit to make sure things don't get too hot. You definitely don't want to just allow the motherboard to run with its normal power setup, or like I think Asus boards specifically, for both AMD and Intel, they just open the taps on power for whatever reason. Right out of the box, it's really kind of weird. But with some tweaking, you can make it work, and it worked great. But this is more, definitely less power hungry in a lot of scenarios. That's about it. I don't know that I really recommend the 7900X or 7900X 3D. I think if you're going to go with the higher end AMD parts, you get the 7950X or the 7950X 3D probably. I think. I'm not saying this is a bad CPU. And for this deal, like, this is a really good motherboard. And for that amount of money, this is not a bad combo either. So, like if you're wanting to go that direction, and this motherboard, honestly, what's nice about this is this motherboard sets you up for the next gen, right? So when the 8000 series come out, which I've heard are going to come out relatively early-ish next year, And that is going to give Intel a real problem because the 14th gen is the last high-end desktop release until late 2024. AMD is releasing the 8000 series earlier next year, so they're going to get like 6 or 7 months or something of just uninterrupted on top. They'll be sitting with a performance crown. It looks like may not happen, but that's what it looks like, and that'll be one of those deals where they are going to be able to do that without even having released the X3D version, the Vcache. So they could theoretically release the 8000 series, win, right, for gaming performance and general performance, and then later that year release the X3D variant to compete in gaming when Intel releases the next iteration of their CPUs. So it's going to be interesting. And if AMD is on point, they've got a real shot to take some market share. So this motherboard and any of the AM5 motherboards will support that CPU, the Zen 5 CPU. So that's something to consider. Intel's next generation is not going to be on the same chipset board. They've got 3 refreshes, or they've got a CPU and then 2 refreshes. Sorry, on the same socket. They're not going to do that again. The next one is going to be a complete new socket. It's a new developed CPU. It's not the same. So at the end of 2024, anybody wanting to move to that is going to have to buy a new motherboard and setup anyway. So this is going to have a little bit more longevity. So if you wanted to buy some kind of bundle with AM5, you're going to get at least one more chip out of it if you wanted to upgrade to the 8000 series when that comes out. If you say, I think a logical progression might be to buy this board or a board like it, and get an AMD set up with, say, the 7800 X3D, right? And then wait until the X3D variants of the 8000 series come out and then upgrade to that. Like, I could see a lot of people doing that potentially. And I think that's not a bad way to play it. The other option is just wait. But, that depends on what your situation is. There's going to be a lot of people buying stuff to get ready for Christmas. And I think, this little bit of future proofing kind of helps things out. Performance is not that much different anyway. But a 7800 X3D or a 7950X are probably my 2 choices. A 7950 X3D wouldn't be bad, but you have to, again, do some tweaking to get it to use the Vcache cores, and it's a big pain in the butt, and I'm not sure it's really totally worth it. There are some ways around it that actually work pretty well, but to the point, it's not a CPU that would do you any favors to run it as it is out of the box. You definitely would prefer either to get a 7800 X3D for gaming or a 7950X if you have that mixed workload and you want to buy AMD. Would be my suggestion. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting holiday season. But I think that's kind of the long short story is look for deals on Alder Lake. If you have a workstation machine, 14900K probably is a good choice. If you're just dedicated to only gaming and you're not looking to, you're not trying to have a crazy, if you can fit it within your budget and you prefer to go AMD because the Vcache, you've seen the game, oh my gosh, Vcache is so much better at this than I thought it would be. The 7800 X3D, especially for Micro Center, that's a good CPU. I would keep an eye out for Black Friday for all of this stuff and kind of see what happens as we go into the holiday season. And yeah, that's kind of what I would do. So 14th gen, I wouldn't worry about it, guys. Honestly, like if you find a good deal on a 12th or 13th gen, probably roll with that, I think. And then if you're really an Intel person, wait until the end of 2024. and just be ready for a motherboard CPU update. Is what I would say. If you even need it then, because these are stout CPUs. It's not like these immediately go bad, in what would that be, a little over a year from now? Like, these CPUs don't just immediately go bad. Just be aware that, like you have a ready-made upgrade path for a while yet with the AM5 platform, and not so much with the 1700 socket. So I've rambled on for enough, so I think that'll do it for this video. I really want to do a build, do some building on this channel, but with the move and my work and everything just being crazy, it's been really difficult. So stay tuned. We'll do more, and I have a transfer from my system, I believe, planned. I might even go and get one of these combos and get my hands on either an Intel or AMD rig. Like I said, it's very inviting to maybe get the 7800 X3D or something like that, and then update later to a 79 or an 8000 series, like an 8000 X3D chip. That sounds pretty interesting to me, so I might see if I can do something like that. That might mean I'm in the camp of the one outlet situation of maybe getting something like this, because I like this motherboard, kind of. I think it's okay. It's probably the nicest motherboard in these combos from Micro Center. Comes to your DDR5 memory. I could do that and then basically get a drop-in upgrade with the 8000 series. And I could hang on to the 7900X. It would do the job fine for now, and then upgrade to like a Vcache 8000 chip when they come out. Maybe. I don't know. I've not fully decided on this yet. And part of that is because the 12900K combo deal is also pretty inviting, although I don't think I like the motherboard as well, but it is cheaper. So there's that. Anyway, stay tuned, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll be talking to you in the next one.